This program has been brought to you by Alpine Bank. Dedication you can count on and experience you can trust. Alpine Bank, member FDIC.
You're watching Durango TV News. I'm Deborah Uroda, sitting in for Wendy Graham-Settle. Two recently completed studies indicate that the La Plata Electric Association could reasonably end its contract with the Tri-State Generation and Transmission Cooperative and still maintain a reliable power supply with more sustainable energy at a lower cost than it pays Tri-State for service today. Those were the key conclusions presented at the LPEA board meeting last week. Earlier this year, the La Plata Electric Association Board of Directors hired Albuquerque-based Enchantment Energy Consulting and Rio Energy as partners to conduct a market analysis of the co-op's current contract and energy supply from Tri-State. Another energy consultant, Energy Strategies from Salt Lake City, analyzed whether LPEA could purchase alternative sources of renewable energy at a reasonable cost. Tri-State Generation and Transmission also is a member-owned cooperative that supplies wholesale energy to 43 distribution cooperatives in Wyoming, Nebraska, Colorado, and New Mexico. While Tri-State produces 30% of its energy from renewable resources, Tri-State currently limits the amount of renewable energy that its member cooperatives can produce to just 5% of their total energy consumption. However, the LPEA board has set a goal to reduce its use of carbon-based energy by 50% by the year 2030 while keeping consumer prices at 70% of peer cooperatives. Under its current contract with Tri-State, LPEA cannot meet that goal.
One of the things that has been driving LPEA is the restrictions on developing local renewable generation. We have the ability right now under our contract to self-supply with local renewable generation up to 5% of our load. Well, we've hit that, and we've spent several years trying to work with Tri-State on identifying ways to increase that amount and give us more flexibility to do that, and those have not been fruitful, and that really ultimately led us to start looking at, okay, if this is the limit, if this is all we're going to be able to do, can we do power supply differently and better, from Tri-State? And that was kind of the genesis of what caused us to look at this. So the board said, okay, we're going to establish a power supply committee, and we task you with two things. Number one, tell us what the value of our contract currently is. And number two, tell us what the alternatives are out there in the marketplace in the Western United States for power supply in lieu of our current supplier.
The Energy Strategies report indicated that La Plata Electric will be able to purchase reliable sources of renewable energy to meet its needs, that it will be able to transmit that power over the current grid operated by Tri-State and the Western Area Power Administration, and that LPEA should be able to purchase sustainable energy supplies at a lower cost than it currently pays Tri-State for its mix of coal and sustainable energy sources.
This has a lot of promise for us, what we're looking at, what we're studying, what we're thinking about trying to do. But there are three things that we want to make sure that we maintain. Number one, rate competitiveness that we've already talked about. Number two, don't impair reliability. Make sure that we keep the lights on. One of the things that we found out as a result of these two consultant studies is that's achievable. We don't have as much concern, but we still need to do some additional due diligence, because while we're not concerned about reliability, we are concerned about the price. And then the third thing is don't impair the financial condition of the cooperative. We believe that we can maintain those three things, but a really critical part is how do you get the power delivered here?
La Plata Electric still must determine whether it can negotiate a change in its contract with Tri-State to purchase more sustainable energy from other sources, or whether it will have to buy out its contract with Tri-State and purchase all its energy on the open market. And the cost of that buyout may play an important factor in that decision. If the cost of ending the Tri-State contract is too high, it could drive up energy costs for La Plata Electric consumers, beyond that which the cooperative can bear. La Plata Electric is looking to the Kit Carson Electrical Cooperative in New Mexico for guidance. Kit Carson was the first Tri-State member to leave the Power and Generation Transmission Cooperative to purchase additional sustainable energy in its power mix. But Drea Springs said that Tri-State member cooperatives are happy with Tri-State's efforts to reduce its carbon footprint. But its changes aren't extensive or fast enough for the member-elected La Plata Electric Board of Directors.
We've got to find a way to sequester carbon. output is not just within the transportation industry, but within the electric utility industry. So I don't think there's any question that's the direction that we're headed. The question now is, how much the members within Tri-State are saying, yeah, we see that risk that we've got to do something about, and they're willing to vote that kind of a change. I hope and believe there's some basis, for compromise. But one of the reasons why we're doing this is because, if it's not, we're not going to be the first ones to have done this. I mean, Kit Carson has already done this successfully. We want to make sure that, the early bird may get the worm, but the second mouse always gets the cheese. Can we do this better?
You can find copies of the PowerPoint presentations on the studies and a recording of the May 17th meeting at which they were presented on the La Plata Electric website at lpea.coop. Thanks for watching this edition of Durango TV News. If you like this story and want to watch it again, log on to our website at durangotv.com. You'll also find an archive of our past stories on the website. In the meantime, catch our latest stories on Durango Cable Channel 15 or our digital sign network in prime locations around Durango. I'm Deborah Uroda for Durango TV News.